You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It controls itself.
Right.
It controls. It's already like whoever came up with this construct, man. They done thought light years ahead how to control people. Again, go see how to become a dictator.
Right. That's a good one, bro.
Go see that show on Netflix.
When you're talking about the same thing, the exact same thing. So it's structured, having its own ideas, how it moves, how it grows, how it controls, and how it does anything within that scope of being.
And growth is an illusion in that. So it's not really growing. So it's recycling patterns in that structure.
Exactly.
And I think through that people they develop identity. You know what I mean? Because if it's in this box, the box is congruent.
Right.
The box is equal.
Right.
There's safety in the box. You know what I mean? And a long list of other ideas, right, that equal identity, right? And through this identity, I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know. Go ahead.
It's a false I am, because you have the I am, then you have I am. I'm special. Right. I'm unique. I'm what's the thing we say about entitled. I deserve. It's almost like a big box of ego.
Right, it is.
If you look at the the construct of what the ego is, Carl Jung, the dogmatic box fits all those wickets.
Right.
My God.
Right.
And they're normally presented as absolute truths or unquestionable principles.
So why you say that? It's absolute truths that are exclusive.
Right.
Because of course spirituality, it's inclusive.
Inclusive, exactly.
And you have to. I had to get to a point and ask myself a question. It's like, well, why don't I want to include everybody in? I'm gonna say the love of the one.
Of the one, right?
Like, what's what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Why would there be an issue with including all?
Well, you can be included, but you have to become less.
Right.
I don't have a better way of saying it.
No. You have to diminish
from being able to expand, being able to look at this and see the good in that, being able to look over here and say, okay, you know what? I don't resonate with that, but I could see some things here where I could.
And I don't even think that comports with the nuance of developing or development, right? So it's like I put it in this context, right? Generally, most people, you don't stay small for long,
right?
You adapt, right? If you live in a place where people primarily don't wear shoes, right? Your feet adapt to those circumstances.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They become suitable for those circumstances, right? I don't even think that that idea comports within itself, right? I think it's an illusionary narrative, right? Because things change all the time, right? And anything that doesn't change, so to speak, right? It's stagnant.
Right.
Right. It's not doing anything. You know what I mean? So ultimately I would question, okay, well, is purpose being fulfilled when you're not developing, when you're not, and I'm sure that there's several arguments that can be posed on that question alone. I'm sure of it.
Right.
Right. But like, it was good.
Right.
Exclusivity. It's, and that word, even the premise of certain things is a paradox in itself. To be exclusively inclusive or inclusively exclusive. It's weird. But what we do agree on is that spirituality and how we're using the word is very expansive. It's not restrictive. However, you can restrict.
You can.
Based on things that you use for your own personal structure.
Right.
To keep you guided. Because you may know things about yourself that you may need to put restrictions on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Point blank, period. You know what I mean? So it's again, it's understanding the balance between the two, because you could be dogmatic and still have a spiritual awakening or expansion in that and find a way to navigate that system.
Right.
Is it easy? I can't say. I can't tell somebody. I know it was not easy for me.
Right.
You know? So
I don't think it's easy for anybody, because you have to change.
What?
And go ahead.
No,
and in changing, that's when you find the real self.
So that
or the fake self.
That goes back to truth discovery.
Right.
Right. And I would even say, I would probably substitute the word easy with, it's not linear.
Okay.
I like that. It's not a straight line.
It's not a straight line, because a lot of times when there's so many different ways you can go with the word easy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it
right.
Somewhere down the line, that's going to turn into bad or good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
right.
I don't think it's a linear progression, right? It's not a
right.
Nah. Yeah, I don't think it's that. Right.
It's a process, and we use the term consciousness. Like when your consciousness expands, it's just like boom. You could be here, then you just here, or you know what I'm saying, or it's kind of weird. Like you said, it's not like I did these things and my consciousness expanded.
Right.
You could say you were here, and then it was like a scramble, and the next thing you know, you just like, yo, why am I even doing this anymore?
Right. Exactly.
And I was telling somebody this week, it's like, yo, I don't even know how I got here. I mean, right. I could go back and look at wickets and points and things that happened. I'm like,
you talking about you
where
personally?
We are right now.
I mean,
me personally, I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, I could tell you stuff, but the things that I do now, I can do tarot cards, I can do oracle cards, I could use a pendulum. I could read palms a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I've been dabbling in so many things because I see the unity in all of it, numerology, all of that.
Right.
And it's like 5 years ago, I've probably been like, man, you better get that satanic crap out of my face.
Right.
So to go from one place to this,
right?
And I know somebody's probably like, brother, you got a demon or whatever, and that's okay.
That's fine.
If they say that, that's okay, because based on their belief that they have to make sense of what is going on my part.
Exactly.
But not me telling you like, listen, I experienced X, Y, and Z. Boom, 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 boom,
and those
can't
are
quantify it.
That thought system is, I think it's a line of inductive reasoning, right? So, because a human being may not properly, I don't want to use the word properly, I'm going to say not, when, nobody is really fully disclosed to your journey.
Right.
Okay. So to make a decision or to come to a point of
what, self-discovery or self-realization?
No. I'm talking on behalf of the other person, right? So for somebody to make a decision or maybe even place a label on something that you don't have full disclosure to, right? Me personally, I would say that's probably an imbalance. You know what I mean? Because you don't know.
You don't know.
So this is how it's sliding right into the next point, which is going to be experience based and belief system, and it kind of goes back. What you're saying goes back to a conversation Tokane and I was having before,
right?
Whereas thinking about how people try to articulate like where we are now, and it's like what did we say? people proselytize, and I'm not saying in all the cases, because they believe that what they're doing is right. Right? Or for the higher reason is saving souls or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, Zocane put in like, but do they really believe it? Or they're trying to affirm their belief by getting somebody else to the fold.
Well, I would say that is probably the most pervasive nature of the human being that I've seen. Right? And I say that because,
and don't lose your original point. What you said before, I was segueing it. So what you just said, when
what I say?
I think I'm losing it already. You had just said, oh man, my bad. We were talking about how people try to create the reason why you are where you are. After I said, like, somebody might say, oh, maybe he got a demon, or
yeah. And they don't have full disclosure.
They don't have full disclosure to the situation.
I try not to forget.
Okay. I'm trying to segue it back in, but go ahead with your point.
But dang, I even forgot that one.
So I had said that how we were having a discussion about, like, people that try to proselytize or try to get people to say, yo, brother, you are this and that and whatever, not only to save your soul, so to speak, but to solidify themselves in their own belief.
So what I was saying was, I think that and when I say that, I'm talking about, you as the individual validating where you are through the reactions of others. I think that is a carbon copy of the nature of the human being that has been replicated generationally, right? So primarily, I've noticed that I've been in the group where, like, I didn't know who I was or what I was, right? So I can understand when I know what it looks like. I know what it sounds like, because at one point in time, I probably demonstrated actions and talked like somebody who did not come to terms with self. Right? Yep. When you don't know, when you're not sure, right? You do and you say things. It's like, it'd be like, I'll put it to you like this, right? There's a point in time when we both were instructors.
Right.
Right? Your first time on the podium and you instructing, right? You're not really confident in your ability. No. Right? So after every line, you're looking at your over-instruct. Am I doing right? You're not saying that.
You're not saying, but you give them a look. You kind of like looking.
am I,
and they'll just be like,
and you, okay, yeah, I'm good.
So you continue on with it.
You continue on, right? But you're not fully sure. You don't really know that you are an instructor, even though you might have went through all the process, all the the qualifications and all that stuff to become one, right? You don't fully become that, right? You don't know that that's who you are.
It's not affirmed in your being.
It's not affirmed yet.
Right.
So you are affirming it or you're validating it through the actions of someone else.
Right.
Their approval. It's like, well, do I see myself as an instructor that based on the way that you do it? Right? Or am I using the abilities, the talents that have been bestowed upon me to affirm something that was already within, right? Because it's the whole that is the whole idea behind educate, right? So you look at educate, it has that it has the word duct in it, right? Which is the same word that's in induce, right? So things actually come through. You draw out, right? And you become. So when that's not happening, right? And you don't really allow yourself to be the full potential of who you are, right? You'll look around and you say, am I doing this right?
Right.
Do I look like you?